Being the nice girl can make you your own worst enemy. Falling into the trap of being approachable, kind, maybe even funny and smart, going above and beyond for everyone else, but never going the extra mile for yourself. I'm talking you're a straight A student, but it never feels good enough, so you keep setting more and more goals. You need to be the top of your class, you need to get 70%, you need to get 80%, you need to graduate with merit, you need a distinction. Maybe you have a long list of acquaintances, but no one you can call an actual friend. Maybe you feel like you ask people about themselves, but they never ask about you. And I'm gonna be honest, if you haven't guessed already, I am describing myself. It's me, I'm the problem. Left unchecked, I could have torn myself apart because of some of the personality traits that I had. I thought they were the reason for my success, but really they were the reasons why I started to resent myself. I was nitpicking myself constantly, my appearance, my behavior, my performance, hyper-analyzing everything, until I decided I'd had enough. Hey, if you're new, I'm Christina and I make videos for people who are feeling lonely. If you're a people pleaser, overachiever, over anything, you're in the right place. If you made it this far into the video, I know it's only the intro, but chances are I probably make videos for you, so you should probably subscribe. I made this video, I'm calling it the worst personality combo. Bit of a bold statement, there's definitely worse personality traits out there, but for me, someone that I feel like I had the nice label and approachable label for so long, I feel like I was doing myself a disservice, and I feel like some of these traits which I'm going to mention, maybe you have them as well. I'm just going to kind of dissect why they're not the best traits that we should kind of like take pride in. It's really easy to take pride in the fact that like you're super nice, super sociable, you're just like nice to everyone, but really that has consequences, aka you're a people pleaser. So we need to unpack three things. One, why are we actually like this? What in the childhood trauma has led us to self-sabotage like this? Two, the triple P formula. Why have I given this a name? I literally don't know. The triple P formula is essentially the worst personality combo. The personality combo that can make you really successful in social situations, in academia, in sports, but can make you slowly start to eat away at yourself. But more on that later. And three, I'm gonna give some unsolicited advice, which no one asked for, but I do feel like having been this person and not be this person anymore, I do have a hot take or two. So without further ado, why are we like this?
If you're feeling like the people you like don't like you and you don't know why, the first thing you want to look at is whether you are people pleasing. You might believe that all you're doing is trying to make them happy. But the truth is, and I'm going to be very tough love here, people don't like it. And it will, in the end, cost you true friendship and the people you're trying to please.
Why are we like this? Why do we let people walk all over us when we can literally see, hear, and feel that they know what they're doing? We can see them take advantage of us and we know that they are taking advantage of us, but we don't speak up. We're too scared. Why are we like this? The answer is the same deep-rooted answer to a lot of our adult behaviors: childhood trauma. What you go through in childhood, oh my gosh, really sets you up for failure or for success when you're an adult. You can absolutely overcome childhood trauma. None of it is set in stone, but it absolutely like molds who you are as an adult. I feel like if you've ever been bullied or been like laughed at in a class, like in front of everyone, like, oh my god, that will literally stick with you forever. I've told this story before, but I remember one of my first few days in a new school, I had this boy come up to me on the playground in front of a bunch of people, and he literally took one look at me, had never spoken to me before, and was like, oh my god, you have the biggest nose I've ever seen. And to this day, it's in my mind vividly. I was super insecure at that age already. Ever since then, I was like, oh, like this is something I need to be like insecure about now. This is something I need to hide. I'm like shy about how my nose looks and how my face looks, my appearance. Like it changed how I started to behave. And looking back at the time, I was just like, just a 14-year-old. I was literally just trying to like be a teenager, but all these things sowed seeds in my mind that like, this is something to be insecure about. This is something that you should be cautious of. Like, you shouldn't present yourself in this way. Like, I thought the way to cope was like, okay, I don't feel great about pretty much everything in school. Why don't I just double down on my grades and studying? Like, fine, if I have no friends, fine, but at least I'm like an A-star student. At least I'm a top athlete. At least I'm like getting the best grades in all of my classes and I'm winning awards. Like, I just doubled down on another area because I was so insecure in one area. And even though I was confident in the grades department, I feel like my confidence was really unbalanced, which I think is something that maybe a lot of us have. You're super confident in one area where you excel and you're literally probably one of the best, but then in other areas, where your insecurities are and where you've been kind of picked on and bullied, you're going to be really insecure, understandably. And because of this, you probably come across as really confident to some people. Some people will probably meet you and be like, oh, I could never tell that you were shy or that you were insecure or that you were worried about that thing, because they only see the confident side of you. They don't get to see the insecure, more nervous side of you. That brings me nicely onto the triple P formula. I don't know why I've given this a name, like literally, Christina, no one cares. First up, perfectionist. Let's take a quick quiz. See how many you score out of 5. How many times have you said things like, I'll just get this finished, then I can relax. I just need to check one more website, then I'll feel like I know enough. I just need to hit 1,000 followers, then I'll be happy. I just need to study for 1 more hour, then I'll know enough. I just need to finish checking my emails, then I'll go to bed. I feel like this habit of feeling like complete, then you can relax, then you can be happy, is just a classic sign that you're a perfectionist. Things need to be done, finished, perfect, whole and complete for you then to feel better. It's kind of like a relief in a way. Like when I think back to like my perfectionist days when I was like a super studious student, I had so much emphasis on like finishing my to-do list, completing everything. Like it was just such like a huge weight on my shoulders. Like every day there was so much to do and I had to get it all done to then be able to relax. But then really I never did relax. Like it was never ending. Perfectionism is really common amongst high achievers. I feel like just the nature of being able to like get a test from 0 to 100%, you got this much. It's just a constant specific measure of how good of a person you are. We sometimes slowly make it represent our value. Like because I got 80%, I am really good, I am really smart. And I know that's an obvious example, but even if you were like an artist and you were trying to like get your work out there on Instagram or get it out on social media, you'll take the metrics and the followers and the likes as a measure of how good your art is and how good of an artist you are, even though that's so subjective. It's just a follower count. That's another thing I feel like with perfectionists. It's like you have to be the best, otherwise I'm not even gonna try. Like sometimes when I think back to how I was and I was like, okay, should I take drama as a subject in school? Well, unless I'm gonna get an A or A star, like what's the point? And I know there's logic to that. You want the best grades possible. I wanted to get into med school, I had to get good grades. But like if the idea that everything I have to do, everything I do has to be the best, has to be top, has to be one of the elite, I think that's kind of toxic, I'm not gonna lie. Because it's low-key saying like, if I do something that's like, all right, like, meh, it's okay, like it's not good enough, everything has to be number 1 or top 2, top 3 for it to be even worthy of anything. Perfectionism comes in many forms as well. I've mentioned academics, I've mentioned work, I mentioned sports, I mentioned artwork, but also sometimes it's also with like appearance as well. Whether you're into kind of excessive skincare, you really want your skin to be quote unquote perfect, even though there's no such thing, or whether you're really into makeup and you want your makeup to be flawless, or whether you're into, some people, cosmetics, Botox, fillers, surgeries, facelifts. Everyone has their own version of perfectionism, and some to more extreme than others, but all of it is harmful. Perfectionism stems from feeling like I'm not good enough. I have to be the best. I have to be one of the best to then be good enough. I have to complete my to-do list to feel like, okay, I had a productive day. I have to clear my acne scars, and then I will feel like my skin is better and I'm a better person. I have to get rid of my pimples. I have to get rid of my milia. If you don't feel good before you start the work, before you started the day, before you started your to-do list, and you expect that finishing the to-do list will make you feel better, then it's just not gonna work. I know perfectionism is kind of like, I don't want to say glorified, but sometimes it's presented in a way where it's like, it's a good trait. It makes you work hard. It makes you excel. And I guess it does. It is a big motivator to have that like pressure on you. Like I have to be the best. I have to be perfect. But then sometimes the mental health consequence is huge. I don't know if it's always worth it. That brings me on to the next piece of the triple P formula, people pleasing. The game changed for me with people pleasing when I watched a video. This woman, Brene Brown, she's really cool. She mentioned something where it was like, you have to disappoint other people and stop disappointing yourself. When she said that, and I really internalized what that meant, I literally, from that day onwards, I kind of stopped people pleasing. I was constantly disappointing myself, saying no to myself, saying no to what I wanted to do, how I wanted to spend my time, who I wanted to spend it with, and I was trying to just like make everyone else happy. And for a while, it felt like I could do this forever. It felt like, okay, I'm just about managing, I'm keeping my head above water. And then it got to a point where I was I was literally miserable. Nothing in my life I was doing was for me, it was all for everyone else. And sometimes we all do it for the childhood trauma, we all do it for some reason, something in our childhood, our parents putting pressure on us. But really, I think the reason why we say yes, no matter what your reason is just, I feel like we need control over our lives. Like if we start saying yes to things, it feels like, okay, I can predict and control how this situation is gonna go. If someone asks me to stay up till 1 a.m. to help them with their homework and I don't really wanna do it, I'm scared, like what will happen if they say no? I don't know what they'll say, I don't know what they'll do. Will they still be my friend afterwards? Whereas if I say yes, okay, I'm back in control, I know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna stay up till 1 a.m. I'm gonna be tired, I'm gonna like resent them as a friend, but at least I know what's gonna happen. I'm in control. Say for example, your parents want you to stay home for college, for university. You don't want to because you wanna actually like experience like life for yourself. You wanna move out, see what the world has to offer. But you just say yes because, okay, I know what will happen. I'll stay home, I'll stay in the same room. I know what the routine will be like. You know, and you're in control. Whereas if you say no to your parents, being out of control and not knowing what's gonna happen is really scary. And that's why I feel like it's so tough with people pleasing, because you keep reverting back to it because it's just so scary to take a step out into the unknown. The thing is, people pleasing is really tough and toxic because it can slowly make you start to like lose yourself. People pleasing can very quickly become your personality. Like you are just a yes man, like that says yes to everyone and everything. And you don't really have opinions as much. Because even sometimes I feel like people pleasing can come up in like little social interactions. Like when you're kind of meeting someone new or something, like you'll just naturally like agree with what they want to say, or you'll agree with everything, that you'll agree with all their opinions. And to finish off the holy trinity of the triple P formula, we have passive aggressive. No one likes to be called passive aggressive. It's not a very nice term, and even I was hesitant like what to include as the last P in the formula. And passive aggressive I've included because sometimes I feel like when you're a people pleaser, you're too nice, you're scared to put a foot wrong, and you don't want to offend people. Instead of saying like your truth, being brutally honest and just telling it like it is, you'll kind of skirt around the topic and you'll not really say it, but you'll say it, and it comes across sometimes as passive aggressive. For me, for a long time, I didn't feel comfortable like saying my honest opinion. I would, if someone was like, oh, be honest, like tell me, is this good enough? Like, is this picture good for Instagram? Like, should I post it? And imagine it was like blurry, like it's not really in focus. I would just be too scared to say like, don't post it. I would just be like, I wouldn't be honest. I would just skirt around the issue, and like I would just be like, I don't know, like, it's okay. I mean, you could post it, you could post a different one. Like, just say it, Christina. Like, just tell them don't post it. I feel like if you can't be brutally honest with your friends, who can you be brutally honest with? And that's not a testament to like your friends are good friends or bad friends. It's nothing to do with them. It's more so like we don't feel safe being honest. We don't feel safe like sharing our honest opinion, and it's more so like work that we have to do. Passive aggressive stuff can sometimes come up in like dating sometimes. Passive aggressive might not be the right word, but like, do you know like when you don't have feelings for a partner or someone you went on a date with, like, and you don't know how to tell them that you aren't really feeling it? So obviously people ghost, or some people will just be like, oh, I think we can be friends, or some people will just be like, do you know what I mean? Like we skirt around the problem. We aren't just like honest. Now for the best part, advice. This is laughable because I 100% have some of these traits. All of these things that I've spoken about are literally from personal experience. My biggest piece of advice would just be to internalize the fact that you have to disappoint other people or disappoint yourself. Someone is going to be disappointed along the way. Is it going to be you or is it going to be them? You literally have to choose. I feel like that's what you want as a people pleaser, to not offend anyone. You don't want to offend them, but you're happy to offend and upset yourself. And I promise you, once you say no to someone once, it gets so easy the next time. I feel like once you start saying no as well, that's actually when you start to figure out who you actually are.